And today is 7 November 2023. And after a single day's gap, I am now coming to live for presenting on the topic Dr. C.V. Raman. That is Dr. C.V. Raman's life story on his birth anniversary. Uh, and it is his 134th birth anniversary. Before presenting, let me introduce myself. I'm Krishnendu De, assistant teacher of Kanchannagar Diendas High School, and it is in Purbo Bardhaman in West Bengal. So, just I am going to present on the topic Dr. C.V. Raman. And Dr. C.V. Raman life story is so long, that is 82 years old. 82 years lifespan. It is a very difficult to me to say all the details about such a reverent personality in only in a single hour. But I am just trying, and what I got, what I learned, I'm just sharing for you, dear students, only for our school students, so that they can learn about the life story, they can motivate, inspired, and by the life story, and by the different work and different experiments, different observation, different experiment, and define so many things. So students can inspired or motivated. And only for your dear school students, I'm just presenting Dr. C.B. Raman. And then the very first, I must convey my regards and pranam to Tripathi ji sirs and Geeta ma'am ji, convener of the live, uh, so that they give me an opportunity to present myself and my presentation, and to all the Indian people via their channel, that is in Indian Science Communicator groups. And I convey my respect to all the dignitaries attached to this group. And before going details, I must pay my respect, my tribute to Dr. C.V. Raman, and by a single thing, that is on his photograph, and that just backside of my sitting, and you can see that Dr. C.V. Raman's photograph. Here, Dr. C.V. Raman's photograph, mm, and it is drawn by my elder daughter, and her name is Oyana De. By drawing this picture, she paid her respect to Dr. C.V. Raman. I am just giving some agarbatti and garlands to Dr. C.V. Raman before presenting details.
Okay.
Just I'm returning back. Dr. C.V. Raman was born on 1888, and on 7 November, he was an Indian physicist known for his work in the field of uh, light scattering mainly, and other also had experiments, also had research on different fields. But this Indian physicist, Dr. C.V. Raman, I can mention that only first Nobel laureate on the field of science after Rabindranath Tagore. He is also a Bengali personality in our stream. Raman received a Nobel Prize in 1930 for the discovery of light scattering, that is also called Raman scattering. And here you see that a picture of India map, Tiruchirappalli. Tiruchirappalli, now in Tamil Nadu, on the south side of Indian map. Tiruchirappalli, C.V. Raman was born. At that time, Madras Presidency, and the name and the city was Tiruchirappalli. His father, Chandrasekhar Ramanathan Iyer, and his mother was Prabhati Amal. And she was one of the son from 8 siblings. That is, out of among 8 brothers and sisters, he is one of them. And his father, Chandrasekhara Ramanatham Iyer, was a teacher at local high school. So obviously, school teacher, he earned a moderate income. And C.V. Raman once recalled that he was born with a copper spoon, not gold spoon, in his mouth. Uh, and he told that at his birth, my father was earning a magnificent salary of 10 rupees per month, only 10 rupees of per month. So the total number of families, 10 in their family. In 1892, his family moved to Vishakhapatnam, that is Vizag, in Andhra Pradesh, and his father was appointed to the Faculty of Physics at Mrs. A.V. Narasimha Rao College. So, generally, it is clear that also his father, he was blessed for his father, and he was also a talented person, and because he teachers and later appointed as a faculty of physics in college. Here you see, first the picture is Saint Aloysius Anglo Indian High School, that is Vishakhapatnam, and late Presidency College in Madras, and now in Chennai. And the last figure, that is University of Madras. Raman, Dr. Raman was educated at Aloysius Anglo-Indian High School, that is Vishakhapatnam, and he matriculated at the age of 11, only 11. In 1902, Raman joined Presidency College in Madras, and the red color, that is Presidency College, now is Chennai, where his father had been transferred to mathematics and physics. It is a great opportunity for him that his father had been transferred to teach mathematics and physics. In 1904, he obtained BA degree from University of Madras, and this is the figure. This is picture of University of Madras. where he stood first and won the gold medals in physics and English. At the age of 18, only the 18, at the age of 18, while still a graduate student, he published his first scientific paper on unsymmetrical diffraction bands due to a rectangular aperture in the British journal Philosophical Magazine in 1906 at the age of 18. He earned an MA degree from the University of Madras, same university, with highest distinction in 1907, only uh, at the age of 20. And he also published his second paper on surface tension of liquid. So this is the career, and here the picture of Lord Raleigh, and also she was familiar with us as Raleigh scattering, and is also a great scientist and physicist. Uh, and it was alongside Lord Raleigh's paper, both are physicists at that time and also a co-friend. Lord Raleigh's paper on the sensitivity of ear to sound, and from which Lord Raleigh started to communicate with Raman and courteously addressing him as professor. Dr. Raleigh, frankly or politely or respectfully, call uh, our Raman as a professor. So we think he was a great personality and also a good student. So that's and good researcher also and co-friend, and that's why Raleigh also called him a professor. An abbreviation also obviously and courtesy called. And in his long career, cannot define me, cannot define by me such a short time. Raman, after passed his MA degree, Raman qualified for Indian Finance Service and got stood first position in the entrance examination in 1907. And at that time, our central city of India, Kolkata, he was posted in Kolkata, now Kolkata, at that time Calcutta, as an assistant accountant general in 1907. And also in his career, that is a account general, assistant account general. But his love was on research, and it was there that he became highly impressed with Indian Association for Cultivation of Science, that is IACS, and also ISCS. Here the picture of Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science. It is located in Jadavpur, under Kolkata and West Bengal. So it is the first institute, first research institute at that time, when or India before freedom, 1945, and it was founded in 1876. That is ISCS, Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science. He obtained permission to conduct research at ISCS in his own time, even at very unusual hours. And so less persons got this opportunity, but he also got this opportunity, that is in his own time at very unusual hours. Raman later reminisced, and to that time the institute had not yet recruited any regular researcher or produced any research paper. And also the very beginning of that birth of the institute, ISCS, and at that time no regular researcher, no research paper was produced by the institute, and Aman only And from other side, because he was already a professional uh, assistant accountant general, and Ramul used to go to the research institute for his own wish. Raman article, Newton's rings in polarized light, published in Nature in 1907, and become the first from the institute. And it is the first article, Newton's ring in polarized light, and published in Nature, and the first from the institute. The work inspired Association for the Cultivation of Science to publish a journal, Bulletin of Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science, in 1909, in which Raman was the major contributor. Raman received two honorary positions in at ISCS, that is honorary professor and honorary secretary. He referred to this period as the golden era of his life. And Raman was chosen by the University of Calcutta. It is Rajabazar Science College, and the picture you see under Kolkata University. And Raman was chosen by the University of Calcutta to become the Palit Professor of Physics. And Palit Professor was a renowned chair at that time, Professor Taraknath Palit, and it was another matter. It was only in 1917 when he joined Rajavaja Science College, a campus created by the University of Calcutta in 1914. At the very beginning of that college, Rajavaja Science College is a renowned college, in our town city, central city of West Bengal, Kolkata. And he became a full-fledged professor. And here a good personality, and the picture is Ashutosh Mukherjee. He was a mathematician and a very influenced person. So we already know this person as a Banglar Bagh, that is a tiger of Bengal. He was a barrister at that time and much powerful person of the central city Kolkata. Not only mathematician, is a good barrister in his professional life, and also talented and influenced politicians also. So just I mention some words about C.V. Raman with Ashutosh Mukherjee, the tiger of Bengal. And it was a problem at that time because Raman was appointed by Palit professor, and Raman's appoint as a Palit professor was strongly objected by the members of Senate at that time. Senate is a member of some group of some renowned people and researcher group, and under the University of Calcutta. So everything was passed by Senate of the University of Calcutta, and not only at that, before freedom, not only our Indian people was there, and so foreign people and many others outside Indian people was there, and so especially from foreign members objected a lot. He because Raman had no PhD, that is formal degree, that is doctorate in philosophy, had never studied abroad. It is also a part because he's learning from our Indian institution as a kind of rebuttal. Mukherjee, and this Ashutosh Mukherjee arranged for a honorary DSc degree. So you can feel that how influenced was Mr. Mukherjee. Mukherjee arranged for an honorary Doctor of Science degree from the University of Calcutta in 1921. And the same year, Dr. Raman visited Oxford to deliver a lecture at the Congress of Universities of the British Empire. He had earned a quite reputation by them, and his hosts were Nobel laureate J.J. Thomson, Lord Rutherford. And upon his election as a fellow of Royal Society in 1924, and, uh, and frankly, Mukherjee at that time um, uh, asked him for his future plan to Raman. And Raman, in reply, told that the Nobel Prize, of course. Uh, in 1926, Raman established the Indian Journal of Physics and acted as first editor. And the second volume of the journal published his famous article, A New Radiation, reporting the discovery of the Raman effect, for which he got the Nobel Prize. And Raman retired from Indian Institute of Science and Cultivation, IISC, uh, IISC in 1948. Here the picture is Raman Research Institute in Bangalore. He established Raman Research Institute in Bangalore in 1949, and he was the lifelong director and active and until his death. And now I mention some scientific contributions of Dr. C.V. Raman. First, I mentioned that is very fond of musical sound. I had the picture of Dr. Helmont. He was inspired by this person, Dr. von Helmont, the sensation of tone, the book he came across when he joined IACES. Raman published his findings between 1916 to 1921. Raman worked out the theory of transverse vibration of both string instruments based on superposition of velocities. One of his earliest studies was on the wood tone in violins. He studied the acoustics of various violins and related instruments, including Indian stringed instruments and Wanta's places. He even performed what is called experiments with mechanically played violins. Raman also studied the uniqueness of Indian drums. That is, here the picture of tabla and mridangam, and his analysis of the harmonic nature of sounds of tabla and mridangam were the first scientific studies on Indian percussions. So it is a musical sound. Now, the blue color of sea, that is the watercolor. No watercolor has no water has no color, but we see the color blue color of sea. That is water of sea. Water is naturally we see blue color, and Raman in his broadening venture of optics started to investigate it, scattering of light starting in 1919. His first phenomenal discovery of the physics of light was the blue color of seawater. And during a voyage, when he came from England on board, and that time SS Narkunda was a ship, a renowned British ship, SS Narkunda. And in 1921, and during his journey, during a voyage from England to India, he contemplated the blue color of the Mediterranean Sea, and it is Mediterranean Sea. Mediterranean Sea using simple and optical equipment and a pocket-sized spectroscope and nickel prism. Only in his bag, a spectroscope and nickel prism and some related optical instrument. And he studied the seawater and of several hypotheses on the color of sea propounded at that time, and that is a molecular diffraction of light by C.V. Raman, and it was a research paper book. And here the picture of Rayleigh scattering, Dr. Rayleigh. He was first scattering was formed for reflection, and here the picture of reflection he first mentioned. But as soon as SS Narkunda docked in Bombay Harbour, at that time Mumbai Harbour, Raman finished an article, and during his voyage or during his journey, he already wrote a title, an article, "The Color of the Sea," that is blue color of the sea, and was published in 1921, and on the issue Nature. And it is a very famous Raman effect, and the picture is Ramanathan. The Raman's second important discovery on the scattering of light was a new type of radiation, the phenomenon also called the Raman effect. And it was later was called Raman effect. Raman, it was not the name was done by C.V. Raman, and later it was renowned for Raman effect. After discovering the nature of light scattering that caused blue color of water, he focused on the principle behind the phenomenon. His experiments in 1923 showed the possibility of other light rays formed in addition to incident ray. When sunlight was filtered through a violet glass in certain liquids and solids, Ramanathan, here the picture, believed that this was a case of a trace of fluorescence. In 1925, K.S. Krishnan, a new research associate, and he was a student under C.V. Raman, and noted the theoretical background for the existence of an additional scattering line beside the usual polarized elastic scattering when the light scattered through liquid. He referred to the phenomena as feeble fluorescence, but the theoretical attempts to justify the phenomena were quite futile for the next 2 years. And it was a very controversy at that time. His research associate had already invented something, and he was K.S. Krishnan, and light rays reflected back with different frequencies and obviously different wavelength, and this was called Raman effect. And the scattering experiment was done by Krishnan. Krishnan first started the experiment in the beginning of 1928. He discovered that no matter what kind of pure liquid he used, it always produced polarized fluorescence within the visible spectrum of light. As Raman saw the result, he was astonished. At that time, the experiment done by Krishnan, and Raman saw the result. He was astonished why he never observed such phenomena all those years. And that might he and Krishna named the new phenomenon as modified scattering. With reference to Compton effect, he was mentioned as a reference to Compton effect because at that time he was not any instrument, any larger instrument for this experiments. So he is referred to Compton effect as an unmodified scattering, and they sent a manuscript to Nature titled "A New Type of Secondary Radiation" was published on March 1928. They obtained the spectra of modified scattering separate from the incident light. Due to difficulty in measuring the wavelength of light, they had been relying on visual observation of the color produced from sunlight through prism. Raman had invented a type of spectrograph for detecting and measuring electromagnetic waves. And referring to the invention, Raman later remarked, and the announcement, just I mentioned that for scattering, the same day Raman made the announcement before the press, and Raman was very hopeful for his award because earlier day, a single day before Raman made the announcement before the press meeting, the Associated Press of India reported it the next day as the new theory of radiation, Professor Raman's discovery. It ran the story as Professor C.V. Raman, FRS of Calcutta University, has made a discovery which promised to be the fundamental significance to physics. The new phenomenon exhibits features even more startling than those discovered by Professor Compton with X-rays. The principal feature observed is that when matter is excited by light of one color, the atoms contained in it emit light of two colors, one of which is different from the existing color and is lower down the spectrum. The astonishing thing is that the altered color is quite independent of the nature of the substance used. The news was reproduced by the statesman under the headline Scattering of Light by Atoms, New Phenomena, Calcutta's Professor's Discovery. Raman submitted a three-paragraph report of the discovery on to Nature on 21st April. The actual data was sent to the same journal on 22 March, was published on 5th May. Raman presented the formal and detailed description as a new radiation at the meeting Indian Science Association in Bangalore. His lecture was published in Indian Journal of Physics, and 1,000 copies of paper reprint were sent to scientists in different countries on that day. 1,000 copies of paper reprint were sent to scientists of different uh, countries on the same date. And this was the experiments and research by the Naman itself with his research associated and also obviously in much influence research associate Dr. Krishnan, and I just mentioned the later work in his lifespan, and that is the Raman has associated with familiarly BHU, that is Benares Hindu University in Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh, and he attended the foundation ceremony of BHU and delivered lecture on mathematics and some new paths in physics during the lecture series organized at the university in 1916. He also held the position of permanent visiting professor. With Bhaganathan, he determined the spin of photons, which further confirmed the quantum nature of light. With another student, Nagendranath, he provided the correct theoretical explanation of the acousto-optic effect, that is, light scattering by sound waves, in a series of articles resulting in the celebrated Raman Nath theory. and on this effect have enabled optical communication components based on laser systems. Other investigations he carried out included experimental and theoretical studies on the diffraction of light by acoustic waves on ultrasonic and hypersonic frequencies, and those on the effects produced by X-rays on infrared vibration in crystal exposed to ordinary light, which were published in between 1935 and 1942, before our independence. In 1948, that is after independence, through studying the spectroscopic behavior of crystals, he approached the fundamental problems of crystal dynamics in new manner. He dealt with the structure and properties of diamond from 1940 to 1968, and it was also a hobby to collect stones and diamond from different parts of world. The structure and optical behavior of numerous substances, including quartz, purlin. Among his other interests were optics of colloids, electromagnetic spectroscopy, and it was the picture of different stones, marbles, uh, and it was, I think, it was his hobby. Throughout his life, Raman developed an extensive personal collection of stones, minerals, and materials with his interesting light scattering properties through by his spectrograph and light and nickel prism. He already collected from stones, minerals from different parts of the world he visited at that time. And when he obtained from his world travels as a gift, he often carried small handheld spectroscope to study specimens. And along with his spectrograph, and that are displayed now IISC until this time. And obviously, I just look Dr. Raman with Rutherford, renowned physicist, and Lord Rutherford helped him a lot. Just is very common thing, and we heard that Lord Rutherford was instrumental in some Raman's most pivotal moments in life, and he nominated Raman. Just a very good thing that Lord Rutherford nominated Raman for Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930. It was a golden year at that time, and presented him the Hughes Medal as president of the Royal Society in 1930, and recommended him for the position of director at IISC in 1932. Raman had a sense of obsession with the Nobel Prize. In his speech at the University of Calcutta, he said, "I am not flattered by the honor that is fellowship or Royal Society once got. I'll tell something on that matter. That is Royal Society, and some controversy was there. And this is a small achievement. Raman's already said at that time, if there is anything I inspired for, it is the Nobel Prize. Raman did not look much on the fellowship from Royal Society, but he already aspired for the prize, Nobel. And you will find that he already at that time already said, declared before announcement that already that he said that you will find that I get that in 5 years. Already mentioned the time. He knew that if he were to receive the Nobel Prize, he could not wait for the announcement of the Nobel Committee, normally made towards the end of the year. And considering the time required to reach Sweden by sea, at the time, Sweden by sea, only the route before independence. With confidence, he booked 2 tickets. You can imagine that already before announcement, how confident he was that he booked two tickets for he himself and for his wife. That is, soon after he received the Nobel Prize, he was asked in an interview the possible consequence. He had discovered the Raman effect earlier, which he replied, then I should have shared the Nobel Prize with Compton, and I should not have like that. I would rather receive the whole of it. And next, what was happened with Nobel Prize with Dr. C.V. Raman in 1928. Moscow State University discovered the Raman effect. It was a controversy at that time. Moscow State University already independently discovered Raman effect, but some problem was there. They published and presented their findings in sixth Congress of Russian Association of Physics, and they were nominated for Nobel Prize alongside Raman. But according to Nobel Committee, the Russian did not come to an independent interpretation of their discovery as they cited Raman's articles. And Nobel Committee observed that effect only in crystal, whereas Raman and Krishnan observed it is in solid, liquid, and gases, much more than Moscow State University researcher, therefore proved the universal nature of this effect. It was a good side of the research. The problems concerning the intensity of Raman and infrared lines in the spectra had been explained during the previous year. Raman method had been applied with great success in different fields of molecular physics. The Raman effect had effectively helped to check the symmetry properties of molecules and thus problems concerning nuclear spin in atomic physics. The Nobel Committee proposed only Raman's name to the Royal Swedish Academy of Science for Nobel Prize. Evidence later appeared that Russian had discovered the phenomenon earlier, a week before Raman and Krishnan's discovery. And the name mentioned here, not only Raman, but Raman with his research associated good single, and Krishna's name was there side by side with Raman. And now I say that role of Krishna in Raman research. Here the picture of Krishna on left side and the right side, and middle is Summerfield, another physicist, and the right side is Dr. Raman. And both are put in turban, and that is a symbol of faith and courage. And they have also a belief in Hinduism from this attire. And Krishnan was nominated for the Nobel Prize, even though he was the main researcher for the discovery of Raman effect. And it was he alone who first noted that new scattering. Dr. Krishnan also first noted the new scattering. Krishna and co-authored all the scientific paper at that time, 1928, except 2 years. He, except two research article, he alone wrote all the follow-up studies. Krishnan himself never claimed himself that worthy of the prize. But Raman admitted later that Krishnan was the co-discoverer. So here is the picture of Krishnan with Sommerfeld and Dr. Raman. And also the controversy with Max Born. Here the picture you see Dr. Raman with Max Born. Max Born was employed by Raman at IISc as a reader in theoretical physics following the invitation by Raman in 1933. Born at that time, was a refugee from Germany and temporarily employed at John's College, Cambridge. Born had developed a theory on lattice dynamics based on thermal properties. He presented his theory in one of his lectures at IISc, and by then Raman had developed a different theory and claimed that Bond's theory contradicted the experiment's data. And their debate lasted for decades. And obviously, Bond was a great scientist, and he also nominated several times for the Nobel Prize, especially for his contribution to lattice theory, and eventually won it for his statistical work on quantum mechanics in 1954, also a very late in his life. And the account was written as a belated Nobel Prize. Uh, Here I some mention Dr. C.V. Raman, what happened with Indian authorities. And Raman had an aversion to the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, at that time Indian Prime Minister at the independence time, independence period. Prime Minister Indian of Jawaharlal Nehru. Nehru policies on the science is very critically criticized positively also, obviously. In one instance, he smashed the bust of Nehru on the floor. So he was very uh, annoyed person, and in another, he shattered his Bharat Ratna medal to pieces with a hammer, as it was given by Nehru government. Was annoyed at that time Dr. Jawaharlal Nehru on various matters. On the same occasion, Nehru offered Raman financial assistance to his institute, which Raman refused. Because Raman believed that I certainly don't want this to become another government laboratory. Raman was particularly against the control of research program by the government, such as in the establishment of Hava Atomic Research BA Bark and DRDO, Different Research and Development Organization, and CSI, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. And at the period of independence, and after, obviously after the period of independence, all are government controlled. The Raman did not wish that that his research laboratory also controlled by some political person or government at that time. Raman described AICC, that is All Indian Congress Committee authorities, as a big tamasha because it was his words, and I already quoted from different sources that Raman described itself that IIC authority is a big tamasha that just kept on discussing issues without action. And because it was a renowned kept words, that's I kept these lines to my presentation. Mm, I have no alternative in this line. Already he already mentioned. I just here I mentioned the same thing as he already mentioned at that time. As to problems of food research in India, his advice to the government was, and we must keep breeding like pigs, and the matter will resolve itself. He already mentioned at that time we must stop breeding like pigs, and the matter will solve itself. Here you see Dr. C.V. Raman with Indian Institute of Science. Raman had a great fallout with the authorities at the Indian Institute of Science, and he was accused of biased development in physics with while ignoring other fields. Obviously, naturally, it will happen because Raman was a great fond of physicist, so naturally it was happened. But the Council of IIC constituted review committee to oversee Raman's conduct. And the council at that time, controlled by other authorities, offered Raman two choices. They are not very satisfied with the conduct of Raman at that time, because uh, many other, because his partiality or biasness to physics research, and also he could not look or eye to other fields, and that's why council offered Raman two choice: either to resign from the institute or resign as a director and continue as a professor of physics. So Raman obviously resigned from the directorship and took only professorship in physics. And it is IISC, the picture, Indian Institute of Science. And it is in Bangalore, Karnataka. And Royal Society at that time, Royal Society, he was a fellow of Royal Society, though he rejected his fellowship and resignation. He tendered his resignation from fellowship in 1968. Raman objection. What was the? This is the Royal Society, and this building is a Royal Society building. And Raman objection to the designation British subject. It was mentioned at that time in his fellowship, that is, it was British subject. Raman was objection was that only the point British subject. So we can imagine that how patriotic person was Raman, and his love to India. Because on it only the two words, that is British subject, he was objected. And particularly after the independence, it was mentioned British subject, it was clearly objected, and tendered his resignation as a fellow in 1968, only 20 years after the independence. Here the honors Raman got and acquired at that time. Raman was honored with many honorary doctorates and membership of scientific society. Raman, founder and president of Indian Academy of Science. Indian Academy of Science, it is again in Bengaluru. And fellow of Asiatic Society of Bengal. Here the picture, Asiatic Society of Bengal, he was the fellow. And foundation fellow of Indian Association of Cultivation of Science. It is a foundation fellow. Here the picture, Indian Association of Cultivation of Science, and foundation fellow, Indian National Science Academy. Indian National Science Academy. It is Indian National Science Academy. And also he is a fellow of Royal Society. It is the picture of Royal Society. And he was founder president of Indian Academy of Science till death. And here the picture of the building is Indian Academy of Science, and it is in New Delhi. And he was the president until his death. And this is the awards that is conferred to Dr. Raman. Here you see that the picture of Rabindranath Tagore. Here must mention that at that time, before independence, not only Raman from the science side, also Rabindranath Tagore from arts team, so-called, to great personality for their research. Resembles Indian pictures to the world we got from the soil of holy soil of Bharat. That is the two renowned personality we got at that time. That is V Raman and Rabindranath Tagore. So what awards he got, just I mentioned, and very few renowned awards, not only different, many awards, just 3 or 4 awards are mentioned. In 1930, he was knighted. And Lord Irwin, that is Viceroy of India, conferred him knight bachelor in a special ceremony at the Viceroy's house, that is Viceroy's house. It is now Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. In the same year, he won Nobel Prize. Here, the picture of Nobel Prize in Physics for work, that is scattering of light, and for the discovery of the effect named after him. He was the first Asian and first non-white to receive any Nobel Prize in the science. Non-white because already at that time Nobel Prize from foreign side, only Indian people. So the what mentioned non-white. And in 1930, he received Hughes Medal. Hughes Medal, here the picture, Hughes Medal. In 1941, Franklin Medal, here the picture of Franklin Medal. And 1954, here the Bharat Ratna, here the two shape of leaf, that is Bharat Ratna, was conferred to Dr. Raman. And 1957, he was a Lenin Peace Prize. The picture of last picture is Lenin Peace Prize. And Raman, at the end of 1970, Raman had a cardiac arrest and collapsed in his research laboratory. And 2 days before Raman died, he told his former students that do not allow the journals of the academy to die. So how loved he was his institute. Raman met with the board of management of his institute in his bedroom and discussed with them with the fate of the institute's management. He also willed that his wife to perform a single cremation without any rituals upon his death. He died from the natural cause early the next morning on 21 November 1970 at the age of 80. And on his the scattering of light, that is on the day 28th February. It is memorized by the Indian people. That is National Science Day, and we observed every year, 28 February of for the Raman effect, discovery of Raman effect. We observe National Science Day everywhere for his discovery, light scattering of light. Here, after the death of C.V. Raman, at that time, Indira Gandhi, very influenced woman at that time, also a very talented personality and great politician, our soil got that on Raman's death, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi publicly announced that the country, the House, that is Parliament, and every one of us will mourn the death of Dr. C.V. Raman. He was the greatest scientist of modern India and one of the greatest intellects of our country has produced in his long history. His mind was like the diamond, which he studied and explained. His life work consisted of throwing a light upon the nature of lights, and the world honored him in many ways for the new knowledge which he owned for science. At the picture of Dr. Indira Gandhi and Dr. C.V. Raman, where Indira Gandhi quoted about Raman. I just mentioned that line copied from source, renowned source. And throughout his 82 years journey, many controversy was there. I only shared the what I have learned. So any message of misconcept or any other error in my words, please forgive me because it was a all collected information I got throughout the Raman's discovery, Raman's lifespan. I already shared to you, dear students, for your for you to know about Dr. C.V. Raman for inspiration and motivation. How you collected about Dr. Raman's, and now I have to take a leave from this presentation. So, dear. Thank you all for giving your patience last 1 hour, mm, and for sharing with me with the time. Thank you. I'm just ending to take a leave. Thank you, dear students.